You're about to listen to the Dr. Dahlia Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Dahlia Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Dahlia.
All right, we are back on the Dr. Dahlia Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So lost in all the noise and everything that's been going on over the past few decades is veteran PTSD, veteran suicide. We have on average 17.5 veterans kill themselves, take their lives every day. And we have some serious issues with people coming back and not having the support, coming back from a tour or their military duty, not having the support and the mental health resources that they need. And unfortunately, I've had patients who had PTSD and traumatic brain injuries, TBIs, and issues that were stemming from not only their military time, but car accidents, rape, loss of family. And we have recalcitrant depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder. I lost a friend recently who had drug-resistant mental illness. And it's frightening that we're here in 2026 and still limited with the amount of medications and therapeutic options out there. And so as we've been seeing more and more evidence of some of these psychedelics, with ibogaine and ibogaine and MDMA and ecstasy and all that, it's been slow, and public officials have been hesitant to move forward. Unfortunately, though, how long can we wait? Especially when we have about 18 of our great men and women take their lives every day at minimum. So we need to get moving. And we need to research, and we need to do more clinical trials, and we need to work on that. Now we have controlled substance categories, like we have with marijuana, where it's considered one of the worst categories federally, when actually there are medicinal applications. There are side effects. Marijuana can cause some severe psychosis, can cause cannabis hyperemesis syndrome, has been linked to heart attack and stroke. It's not benign. But from a restricted, controlled, if we look at that and work with it like we would do a pharmaceutical, we can make some headway as it pertains to using cannabis or THC-related compounds in the medicinal world. Well, that's what's happening now with ibogaine and others, now that Trump has signed an executive order to advance psychedelic drugs and free up some of the bureaucracy and the slowdown that happens to get these FDA approved. So on Friday, Trump signed an executive order to fast-track the research, funding, and potential FDA approval of psychedelics like ibogaine, psilocybin, LCD, MDMA to treat PTSD, depression, and addiction. And so the psychedelics and psychoactive compounds will work more through serotonin pathways. And we do have serotonin selective reuptake inhibitors. We do have medications that are addressing and attacking the serotonin side of things. And when people say, well, why are these medicines working? Now, well, it's because it might be addressing the serotonin side of things. And it's because of also fast action. And so, you have some huge admiration for this move, but then you also have critics saying, well, we don't have enough evidence. And are we unfortunately going to put people in harm's way? And I think it's a valid concern to make sure that we don't fast track anything. I mean, look at what happened with the COVID vaccine. We had to get the COVID vaccine available. We had to save lives, but there's been a lot of critique of, did we study it enough? Did we understand the risks of myocarditis? Did we understand the risks of thromboembolism and stroke, as we saw with the AstraZeneca and the Johnson & Johnson, a little higher uptick of that. And so I'm all for thorough vetting. I don't like red tape. And as I've said, we have issues here because we have many veterans and we have many individuals that suffer with PTSD that don't get relief from these medications that can take sometimes 2 weeks to a month to kick in. So ibogaine is a naturally occurring psychoactive compound derived from the Tabernathy iboga shrub. It's used in traditional African ceremonies, from what we're understanding, and it has had some fascinating evidence to how it affects addiction and can limit addiction and limit cravings, as well as some neurobehavioral disorders. That's according to Stanford Medicine. Preliminary studies suggest it could act as an interpreter for opioid and cocaine cravings, and may actually help prevent and be used for addiction interruption, eliminate withdrawal symptoms, diminish cravings. We believe that ibogaine can work on not only serotonin but dopamine as well. But and a study out of Stanford in 2024 said that if you combine ibogaine with magnesium, they found improvement in functioning and reductions in psychiatric symptoms in military veterans with TBI. Plus, they have found long-term abstinence in people who are addicted to opioids with it. And so many people have claimed they've used it. It's worked wonderfully. They've gone out of the country to get it. Are there side effects? Absolutely. There are cardiovascular side effects. I believe it could cause prolonged QT syndrome, which could lead to life-threatening arrhythmia, torsades de pointe. The cardiac arrhythmias, it doesn't happen in everybody, but there is a risk of cardiotoxicity affecting the heart muscle. And then there have been some fatalities. Apparently there have been some case reports of over 30 deaths in the last 40 years associated with cardiovascular issues. Now, 30 deaths in the last 40 years is still at a much lower rate than what we're seeing right now with veteran suicide, but it's still a concern that has to be looked at. There's also neurotoxicity affecting coordinate movement, ataxia. There might be some neuronal damage, issues with the cerebellum and balance. And then some people feel that it could also cause some psychological issues. Even though we're using it to help psychological issues, it may cause hallucinations and other things. So right now, these medications are still being studied. In 2021, there was a study looking at the safety of ibogaine administration for the detoxification of opioid-dependent individuals. And so, they did, suggest that it did show that it helped. But we also had to look at, ataxia, QT prolongation. So the fast tracking is important. We need to look at these. We need to do more clinical trials, and we need to get veterans some help. So I'm excited about it, but we got to, use caution. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY. Don't go away. Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Dahlia. As many of you know, I lost another colleague to suicide. And tragically, tens of thousands of Americans, including hundreds of physicians, take their lives each year. Why is suicide so common? Why doctors? Even medical students have alarming suicide rates. Nurse burnout is at an all-time high. Maybe it's the monstrous workloads we face every day. Maybe it's because of burnout, malpractice suits, online reviews. Medicine has changed so rapidly that it's almost unrecognizable to those of us who entered this field and wanted to take it by storm. But there's not a lot of resources out there for healthcare providers who deny that they are struggling or at risk. So my book, The Depressed Doctor, aims to change that for both the physician and medical student and anyone else who is struggling. Find The Depressed Doctor on Amazon or at drdahlia.com. And if you are currently struggling, call or text 988, the National Suicide Prevention and Crisis Hotline. Don't wait. The silence is killing us.
Let's face it, guys. We're living in times where the truth is becoming more suppressed and censorship is increasing at an alarming rate, especially on social media platforms. It's Clyde, and I want to tell you about a safe and secure digital playground we put together just for you. It's aftermath.media. You get access to thousands of Ground Zero archives and podcasts, along with our private social media groups with your basic membership starting at only $7 a month. Each subscription includes tech support, access to the RSS feeds, along with our own chat room and Telegram channel. In addition, the premium membership includes research study groups, webinars, a document and movie library, a live video stream of Ground Zero, a monthly Zoom chat with me, and other bonus content. Be sure to check out our yearly specials as well. Sign up today while you're thinking about it. Sign up at aftermath.media. Again, that's aftermath.media.
Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY, 1-877-DOC-DALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer. And big thanks to you all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Dahlia, Facebook, The Dr. Dahlia Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. So Las Vegas and Seattle are going to be getting NBA teams after the league voted to expand the NBA for us getting 2 more teams. Las Vegas is going to get 1, as well as Seattle. And very, very exciting. Las Vegas has gone through some amazing transformations. What was once just a gambling hub and casino industry, now we got football, we got hockey, we have women's basketball, we have baseball, we have lacrosse. I mean, we are just minor, major leagues. We are just a sports mecca. And so it makes sense that Las Vegas finally gets an NBA team. Yeah, and look at the women's, the Aces. Look at how well they've been doing. And, and I've been watching a lot of playoff football. I got futures on the Thunder, Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Detroit Pistons. And I know the Pistons didn't do that well. I think they played the Orlando yesterday. But it's a series of, they have the best of 7. So they're in their series now. So we'll see. I do like the Lakers. The Lakers have always been, a favorite of mine because I'm from LA. But though I think it might be the Thunder that's going to be taking it this year. But again, I'm kind of new to the whole NBA and now, giving my picks. So I'm going to be careful, especially since I've been struggling with my picks with football. But what's interesting is coming up with the Las Vegas name. I'm getting a little defensive about it. And I've lived in Las Vegas now off and on since the 80s. My folks moved a lot, so I went to multiple schools. I went to 12 schools, and so a good number of them ended up being in Las Vegas. Then I went to college here. So I consider Vegas my home, as well as Southern California, as well as Phoenix, Arizona, because I lived in all 3 places. So being in Vegas off and on since the 80s, I've seen Vegas grow. And, looking at what our NBA team, when you come up with an NBA team name, it's supposed to characterize you, and it's a name that's going to last for a long time. Like, look at the Detroit Pistons, right? Pistons, the car industry, very, very cool, right? The San Antonio Spurs, the Phoenix Suns. Now, I mean, these things really, really flow, and they do add to the character of the city. So, I'm looking at the possibilities. The Aces, of course, are fantastic, but the Aces are now the WNBA. So I'm sure if the male NBA, men's basketball, would have gotten there first, they would have been the Aces. The Aces are just a killer name. But the women's got it, and I'm glad they do, and they've been, just scoring champions. They're just amazing. So then, it looks like the next best, because I'm thinking to myself, well, they're probably going to go for Scorpions. I thought of this when I heard of this. I go, they'll probably use Scorpions. Even though the Scorpions sound cool, I don't know if I want that to characterize Las Vegas. We talked about Scorpions. I mean, some of us need an Ascorp. We need anti-venom. I mean, Scorpion venom is pretty deadly. I like the idea of, us trying to look formidable. But I don't know if I really want our NBA team called the Scorpions. They're small, they're shifty, there's not a lot of positivity to it. Do we really want the Scorpion to characterize Southern Nevada and Las Vegas? And even though I think that might, and I've been thinking about this for a while ago, we're probably going to be going with Scorpions, but I don't know if I like it. The more I think about it, the more I don't like it. I don't know if I want to. And I mean, honestly, we have more rattlesnakes. Do we really want to be called the Las Vegas Snakes? No. So then people are going back to the gambling. Okay, well, if we can't use Aces, why don't we be the Diamonds or the, now what does characterize Las Vegas? What sort of a characteristic or culture do we have? Well, sadly, it's orange cones. Right. And then my friend John, lane closures, so I mean, we could be called the Las Vegas Orange Clones or the Las Vegas lane closures. They wouldn't be wrong. That characterizes us. The Las Vegas Dust Storm. Now, I mean, although the Dust Devils, the Sun Devils, that's more, again, ASU football. So I wouldn't really go there. But I mean, we do get a little dust tornadoes and a lot of dust. We have high pollen counts. Are we the Las Vegas high pollen count? Are we the Las Vegas, drunk and the hangover? The hangovers? I mean, I don't know. Again, do we want to be characterized as that? We're also now being known as the $20 beers, right? Because we have a lot of overpriced alcohol on the strip. Do we want to be called that? Some people suggested showgirls. We were called the Las Vegas Showgirls. We used to be really well known for showgirls and boobies and all that, but no, not for an NBA team. No. And so, it's interesting. We went from a casino oriented, sort of town, but now there's casinos everywhere. I was just in Omaha, and on the Iowa side of things, I guess gambling is legal in Iowa. So there's casinos there. There's all these different casinos, Horseshoe, Harrah's. And so casinos isn't just a Las Vegas thing. I mean, it's up and down throughout Nevada, but there's casinos everywhere. So I don't know if I would want to. Like I said, I like Aces, but Aces are taken. So you can't have a men's NBA team with the same name as the women's. So so it's up to you guys. What do you think? What should our team be named? And the problem is we're not going to get a choice. I mean, they're going to probably call it like the Harry Reid, like they did with our airport. And boy, were people upset about that. I liked Harry Reid. I met him. I knew him. Nice guy. But not a lot of people liked his politics, and they didn't, think he represented Las Vegas and Nevada. And so, but our airport is now named the Harry Reid Airport. So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. But what I like about these names is they're supposed to be non-political. And it's supposed to be your character. It's supposed to be your it characterizes you. And so I don't know. I think it shouldn't be as hard, but we are a very young city compared to these other cities. I mean, you got the Boston Celtics, very, very cool. You got the New York Knicks. You got these are things that are now going to be in perpetuity. These are, so it's an important name. So I don't know. I don't know if I really, really want Scorpions. You can't really do Gila Monsters. Gila Monsters is more Phoenix. You don't want to do Saguaro. Saguaro is more of an Arizona thing, and I don't want to be named after a cactus. I'm, we got, what is Vegas? Vegas is nature. Got a lot of beautiful mountains. Vegas is a melting pot. We got people from all over living here. It's also a mecca for fun. Not only is it for gambling, but you have the most amazing resorts. You have the most amazing pools, amazing 5-star Michelin restaurants. This is, maybe like something that's more, lavish or although I don't really want to, I don't want to concentrate on the $20 beers because I think we've gone the other way. But, we're more touristy. We're more of plus we're the entertainment capital. I mean, we have some amazing shows and gifted artists that come here. And so, but we don't want to be called the Las Vegas Entertainers. I mean, I don't know if that sounds bad. I'm having trouble. Coming up with a name. So if you guys come up with a name, let me know. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY, 1-877-DOC-DALI. But one thing I like is while politics are getting more and more vicious, we're starting to see many more people go to sports. I have never seen so much popularity in sports. Now maybe it's because of the betting apps. You're able to now have people access and get some skin in the game. So now that people could bet on games, even though they're not in Las Vegas, now they're like, well, now I'm going to watch. So I think the gambling industry and the betting apps have done that. But I also think people want to root for something and people want to win and they want to unite with people. That's one of the things that politics did for people is they allowed them to kind of unite and form a tribe and group and have a competition. But it's, to me, people are just taking it the wrong way. So I'd rather, if you really want to be passionate about something, be passionate about sports. Okay, this way, hopefully nobody gets killed. Nobody gets shot at. Nobody gets criticized or fired or canceled. You could be a Knicks fan, you could be a Lakers fan, you could be a Magic fan, you could be a Spurs fan, and nobody hopefully is gonna cause you to lose your job or go after you. But I'm very pro sports. That's why I love talking about it, because I just think it gives us some of the break that we need. Unfortunately, with sports, politics does invade. Like that one player, he was, I think, with the Spurs, who was, quoting scripture, and he had his opinions on same-sex marriage. As much as I support the LGBTQIA plus community, I also support freedom of speech and freedom of religion. And so, unfortunately, politics will always invade everything. But if we could try to keep sports as pure as possible, I'd like to. 1-877-Doc Dolly, don't go away.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems and their solutions. For example,
diesel fuel cetane levels.
in many states, the cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts. Due to a cleaner burn, there are less hydrocarbons and particulate matter in your exhaust. This reduces the blockage of your diesel particulate filter. Using Diesel Extreme generates 83% less DPF regeneration. The 6-in-1 Diesel Extreme formula also includes the most concentrated detergent on the market, lubricity enhancer, water demulsifier, rust and corrosion inhibitors, and a fuel stabilizer.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com.
Hot Shot Secret. Powered by science.
We are back on the Dr. Dolly Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. Dolly, 1-877-DOCDALI. So one thing that the liberal media is doing is, if they can't, let's say, fight the Trump administration on the things they are getting done, they are going to go after the psychology or the cognitive, state. So what we saw with Biden was obvious, but nobody did anything about it. Yet now they want to invoke the 25th Amendment on Trump because of his tweets and his truths on Truth Social. Trump probably should kind of lay off some of the social media. I understand that he wants to say things and not have them edited or taken out of context, but I don't think all the inflammatory comments are necessary. I think he could tone it down a little bit. But they're not only going after Trump, they're also going after Kash Patel. And apparently The Atlantic is now being sued because of what Kash Patel reports a defamatory hit piece, unquote. Meritless, alleging that he partakes in excessive drinking and absences. Now, I can't really comment on that because I see him all the time. I mean, he's always in the media. But if, the camera's not on him, we don't know if he's working at his desk but according to The Atlantic, they said that that he has a serious drinking problem and that they have, anonymous sources that he has alarmed colleagues with episodes of excessive drinking and unexplained absences. Now, according to the author, Sarah Fitzpatrick, this is being reported by Daily Mail. The article was on April 17th, and it ran with the headline, "The FBI Director is MIA." She cited anonymous sources within the FBI that said his alcohol intake made him unreachable at key moments and complicated the manhunt for the Charlie Kirk's assassin. Agents allegedly had to use SWAT breaching equipment to break down his door on one occasion, and she claims that Patel allegedly spiraled into a nervous breakdown when he mistakenly believed he had been fired by President Trump. Now, Kash Patel, the FBI director, has filed a $250 million lawsuit against The Atlantic for this piece. The lawsuit says that the staff writer and Sarah Fitzpatrick, as well as The Atlantic, must be held accountable for a sweeping malicious and defamatory hit piece published on April 17th. Defendants are, of course, free to criticize the leadership of the FBI, but they cross the legal line by publishing an article replete with false and obviously fabricated allegations designed to destroy Director Patel's reputation and drive him from office. I mean, knowing Trump and how Trump operates, if he had all thought that somebody was not doing the job that needed to be done, he'd be out. So, I'm not saying that's the only evidence to say that Kash Patel doesn't drink to an excessive amount, but if Kash Patel was not accessible, because we know that Trump works all hours of the day, and he works 24/7, 365 days a year. I don't know when that man sleeps. And I'm sure if he needs to contact anybody, and everybody has been reporting, senators, chief of staff, or staff, cabinet members, they say, look, they'll get a call in the middle of the night from Trump. You answer your phone. So I sincerely doubt if Kash Patel ever missed a call or missed a duty that he would still be in office. Now, did people see him drink and party with the men's hockey team? Yeah, they did. He was partying with the hockey team. That's how I looked at it. No, if somebody has an alcohol issue, and I know people were accusing Pete Hegseth of that as well. Alcohol abuse can be serious. It's not so much how much you drink, it's your behavior. And if you're causing harm to yourself, and if you're causing harm to others, if you drink a drink or two a day, but it's messing with your diabetes, if it's messing with your liver, we are going to address it medically. And we are going to address the alcohol use. Doesn't mean you're quote unquote an alcoholic. It's causing harm to you. Binge drinking is described as you having, more than, 4 drinks in a like a 2-3 hour period. And which any Super Bowl Sunday, you could be, or like 4 or 5 drinks, you could very easily during Super Bowl, exceed that. But if you drink more than 1 drink a day as a woman or 2 drinks a day as a man, it's considered moderate alcohol use. We don't call you an alcoholic. We don't say you're abusing alcohol. We just say that you are now going from a social drinker, sorry, I got something in my eye, to a more moderate drinker. And that could be a concern for your health. But if you are, let's say, driving under the influence, or you have a DUI, or you're going to work drunk, these are things that would then get you fired. These are things that would be affecting your obligations, affecting your work. If we see physical dependence, tremors, anxiety, you going through DTs, delirium tremens, where you're withdrawing, going through hallucinations. If you drink alcohol on a regular basis and then you stop drinking abruptly, you could actually seize, you could actually die. Hence, when we do address somebody drinking alcohol, we are very careful of how we withdraw you, because if you stop drinking right away and abruptly, you could really hurt yourself. So, do I think Kash Patel has any of those? I don't. Haven't seen him. I haven't worked with him. I don't know much about his social or alcohol habits. But for the Atlantic to take that step, say, well, we have sources, and this is what anonymous sources said, I think that's very, very careless. And no wonder Patel wants to sue, and I think he should. We have major issues in the media right now where we think if we could say our source or our anonymous source says something, that we're allowed to get the clickbait. We're allowed to get the advertisers. We're allowed to get that headline out there. And maybe he does drink. And we have seen him drink and party. I mean, but does that mean he's not doing his job? And for a news article to, the Inquirer was, I think, famous for this, where they would say stuff that was either fabricated or not confirmed. And they didn't care that they would get sued or they'd have to settle out of court, because the money they made on people reading it and buying their magazine was enough to cover. And it's like, this is how we get people to, read our magazine. And they took it as a cost of doing business. All right, not for $250 million. $250 million, that's going to bite. Same thing with the BBC and editing Trump's speech on January 6th. Not cool. That's deceptive. That's fraudulent. And I really think journalists have to be held to higher standards. You can't just say BS and go, you know what? I'm going to do a retraction. and I'm going to say my bad and everything's going to be good. No, because the harm is out there. The article is out there. The news is out there. Once it's said, it's there for perpetuity. Unless somebody goes online and figures out how to erase it and stop all the screenshots. So not cool. And now you're going after his character. Now, if somebody is not doing their job, it is our, like, for example, if we have a president that seems to be really, really struggling, and we don't want them commander in chief, we do have a right to bring up the 25th Amendment. But if the FBI is doing their job, just because, there's rumblings. People don't like Kristi Noem. People don't like Pete Hegseth. Nobody likes anybody. There's always going to be somebody who is there's always going to be toxicity at work. There's always going to be somebody disliking somebody else. If Trump feels like somebody's not doing their job or they can't do their job, he's going to address it. We've seen him do it time and time again. Was Kristi Noem doing a good job? I don't know. She seemed like it. Was she making videos and commercials that spotlighted her and, spent taxpayer money that probably would not have been something Trump would have wanted her to do? That's apparently why she got replaced. And maybe it's because the debacle that happened in Minnesota and how bad that went. Was that her fault? I don't know. But we see Trump replace people very quickly if he needs to. And the fact that he hasn't replaced Kash Patel, and trust me, Trump knows, if somebody's drinking, he can, I feel like, for Kash Patel to sue the Atlantic for a meritless lawsuit, I think he has a right if there's no confirmation of anything they said. 1-877 Doc Dolly, don't go away. Dr. Dahlia here. Are you tired, burned out, gaining weight, succumbing to the daily pressures of life? Well, how's your dopamine doing? How you feel right now, how you'll feel an hour from now, and how you'll feel next week is completely reliant on your dopamine. Our daily motivation and willingness to push through challenges depends on the intricate chemical process dopamine provides. Christian Kalikas and I created Deploying Dopamine, a book that tells you what dopamine is, when it dysfunctions, and how to successfully deploy it when needed. Find Deploying Dopamine on Amazon today. Check it out.
Increase fuel economy up to 7.9% with Hot Shot's Secret Gasoline Extreme, the solution to maximize your engine's performance and fuel economy. Whether you're driving a sports car or a daily commuter, Gasoline Extreme is specially formulated with PEA to deep clean. Don't settle for an average driving experience. Upgrade to Hot Shot's Secret Gasoline Extreme and go further on each tank. Order now on Amazon or HotShotSecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? My name is Ron LeGrand, and over the past 40 years, I've bought over 3,000 houses without using my money or credit and taught thousands to do the same. Today, even in a virtual environment, we buy nice houses in nice neighborhoods using no banks, realtors, contractors, or other costly entanglements, and build huge cash flow and wealth without the hassle of tenants, all without credit and little or no money. You don't need a license or experience, and I'll show you exactly how it's done. Text FREE to 99799, and I'll send you my free training. I promise you I'll change the way you think about real estate and open the door to a new lifestyle that doesn't involve risk or rehabs and can quickly replace your current income. Text FREE to 99799, and let me show you how to take your life back and build cash flow and wealth from your home. That's FREE to 99799. Again, FREE to 99799.
Back on the Dr. Dolly Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Dolly, 1-877-DOC-DALI. Well, you see in the media the back and forth on what we need to do in terms of transitioning people. And how if you have a child who's in the wrong body or they feel they're in the wrong body, we need to help them or they will die and commit suicide. And as I've said early on, we need to speak to the people who transitioned. And we need to speak to the people who detransitioned. They could probably give us the most insight, not these individuals who feel like they're do-gooders and trying to make policy. Like I think California has, is it AB 1876, wanting to use taxpayer dollars to help people transition. I'm not exactly sure of the nuances of the law. But let's actually talk to the people that are going through it. Because if we don't allow people to be honest about what they're going through, or they feel that they're going to get canceled or not get support, a lot of people who have transitioned and aren't happy are afraid to speak out because they think the community, the LGBTQAI plus community, won't be there for them. And the LGBTQAI plus community is very inclusive, and they do want to be there for people who are gay, lesbian, bisexual, non-binary, etc. But I think it's the other individuals, the more political ones, who are not part of the community that want to make it look like they are supporting the community, doesn't want to allow detransitioners to have a voice. Well, this detransitioner has a voice, and in fact, he has given testimony, as I believe he is speaking out against the California laws as it pertains to liberal transitioning. And I don't know all the ins and outs of the laws of what's going on in California, but Jonathan Skinner did testify, and this is part of his testimony, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically he's 21 years old and transitioned when he was 13. He would get in trouble at school for, holding a boy's hand, and he didn't really like boy play. And kids started to call him bad names, calling him gay and the names that we should not ever use, but the F word and things like that. And he said his grandfather, brother, and uncle did not take well to his developing an effeminate personality. So he seemed to struggle. He was made fun of ever since he was 5 years old, constant bullying. So when he was 12 years old, his school tutor, was transitioning from female to male. And Haley was in her 20s at the time and suggested that maybe he needed help and that transitioning would be the right path for him. So when she turned 13, or when Jonathan turned 13, he came out to his family. The mother was very accepting. But the rest of the family thought that maybe transitioning would be better than him being gay, because gay men dealt with a lot of brutality, a lot of discrimination, and that maybe if he was effeminate, to live as a female might protect him more. So he said when he had these appointments, which is very telling, because it's like, what happens in the medical, we're supposed to do no harm. We're supposed to get informed consent. We're supposed to, explain risks and benefits, and we're supposed to be open to criticism of the treatment. It's very interesting to see what happened, behind closed doors. So Jonathan says that with his first appointment, he's only 13 at the time, W, a gender therapist, immediately supported the idea that life would be easier for me if I transitioned to female, that I had an inborn feminine essence, he said, and that's why I was so different, because I had a girl's brain and a boy's body, so transition would align my brain with my body. They promised that he would later be able to find a husband without needing to man up, quote unquote, and thought that would be an answer to all my problems, and that he could just blend in as a quote-unquote straight girl. When W, the therapist, talked to the mom, and the mom at first, I guess, didn't agree to the treatments, W said that Jonathan would become so depressed that he would kill himself, and basically posed to the mom, which would you rather have, a dead son or a living daughter? So the mom felt pressured into, well, I don't want my son's suicide to be on that, so I guess move forward. Then, after 2 or 3 visits, Dr. S then came into the room. So he saw a therapist, W, for about 2 or 3 visits, and then Dr. S. Dr. S was a nationally prominent gender doctor. Dr. S, apparently, according to Jonathan, medicalized him right away. And Dr. S also repeated that his life would be so much easier after transitioning. So a few weeks into his hormone therapy, he had frequent fainting spells, then was switched from spironolactone to puberty blockers. He was told that sterilization was a possible side effect and was asked if he wanted to save his sperm. He was only 13 years old. He didn't like the idea of sperm extraction. He said, quote, it felt very icky. And I said, no. He's 13. How does he know? Within weeks, he started having severe muscle pain, spasms, nausea, hot flashes affecting sleep, extreme breast tenderness, fluid leakage, erectile dysfunction, anorgasmia, full body rashes, hematuria, blood in the urine, complete loss of appetite and nausea after eating, muscle weakness. What did the doctor do? He said Dr. S cast a doubt that those sudden symptoms were side effects of the puberty blockers and encouraged the hope that his life would improve. And once they fit in, everything would, be fine. Eventually, he had to stop the blocker. He was on estrogen for 7 years. He says now his body has never recovered. He says, my body has not grown, has not developed as it otherwise would have. He says, I still suffer from numerous side effects that are not well understood, for which there is no known treatment. He says, now I am 21 and out in the world. I see that being gay is not anything like I was told. If I just had one counselor who told me that nothing was wrong with me for just being me, it would have changed my life positively. Like I keep saying, the Lady Gaga song, I was born this way, for gay pride. It's so powerful, a message in that song. But we went from being proud of who you are to, well, now we need to medically change you. What? I thought we were proud of who we were, and you be who you are, and you don't try to medically or psychologically be somebody you're not. Apparently, though, society changed. And so he says, I've learned to accept myself, grow out of my awkward stage, like any other gay man. Instead, I was told that my body was wrong and needed to change to be acceptable. He said he was physically and psychologically deprived of the possibility to develop freely and become myself, and I will never be able to express myself as a gay man. Jonathan says, I have been deprived of having any sexual expression for the rest of my life. I affirm under penalty of perjury that facts set forth in the statement are true and accurate. This is heartbreaking. And he wrote this in 2024. Do we have detransitioners able to tell their story? So you don't hear about this person in the news. I found this because I'm starting to look up what's going on in California. But, seeing somebody struggle and now possibly not being able to give birth. If somebody's gay and you're doing eugenics where you're sterilizing them, or how are you different from the Nazis? And I don't like when people compare current modern day individuals to Nazis, because what the Nazis did was so horrific. But one of the things the Nazis did was they sterilized you. And if you were LGBTQ AI plus, you were either killed or you were experimented on. That's frightening. And that's what's happening now. Not cool. If you support gay rights, if you support the community, then you don't want them, especially as children, to be put through painful procedures and never being able to live a normal life. Just because somebody's gay doesn't mean they don't want to be a man. I have a lot of gay men friends, and they love being a man, and they love having their male parts. And your sexual preference does not necessarily connote your gender. And let's say somebody does identify more as female. That doesn't mean they don't want to have babies. That doesn't mean they don't want to be in pain, have pulmonary embolisms, have issues with their bones and height and body development. In order for somebody to transition, these kids have to be explained to that they have to be on the medicine for life. Once you go off the medicine, your body goes into the default sex that you're chromosomally designed for. How does a 13-year-old or a 7-year-old or a 10-year-old commit to that? They can't. And when the parents are being told your child's going to kill themselves, well, they're not. They're going to be very confused and scared. So we need to listen to more detransitioners to understand what exactly people are going through. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY. Don't go away.
Can you believe, with all the recent violent protests, looting, and destruction, some areas are considering either defunding or abolishing the police? At a time when America's neighborhoods need the protection of police the most, some elected officials would rather create more chaos by playing politics. If you're sick of elected officials caving in to demands of the radical left, you're not alone. It's time we stand up and declare our support for local police. The majority of police officers are important partners in protecting our God-given rights. If you prefer freedom over chaos, then learn how you can help protect the local police that serve your community. Call today and request your free Support Your Local Police info packet. Dial 800-JBS-USA-1. That's 800-JBS-USA-1. Request your free Support Your Local Police info packet by calling 800-JBS-USA-1 today.